Recorded Books and One Click Digital present The Fix 2 by Quan. Narrated by Susie Cheyenne. Prologue. Tut stood in the corner of the basement, silently watching the events as they were unfolding. His hand absently went to the end of one of his corn-rowed hair, twisting the red and black beads that held the ends in place. It was a nervous tic of his, and he was in a tense situation. The men in the room with him were stone killers, tried and tested, and had been with his boss for years. Tut was the new kid still trying to make his bones, but he was surely on his way to being great, which was more than he could say for their guest of dishonor, a hustler named Rick. Rick and Tut weren't friends, but got money with the same team, so they often found themselves in each other's company. The last time Tut had seen Rick, he was smiling and telling some lame joke. Now he was the joke, naked and tied to a pool table in a random basement. Seeing Rick in his current state made Tut glad that they weren't close, because anyone involved with him or his bullshit was either dead by that point or on their way to being dead. Standing over Rick, looking at him with judgmental eyes, was Tut's boss, Ramses. As usual, he was draped in heavy jewels, diamond earrings in each ear, thick bracelets and a gold chain with a ridiculously large medallion hanging from the end. Ramses had a thing for jewels, the bigger the better. At any given time, you could catch him with easily near $100,000 in jewels on, even if he was just hanging out. He never worried about anybody robbing him, because with one phone call, Ramses could have your whole family wiped from the face of the earth. Ramses was a boss, answering to no one except Pharaoh. "Wake this nigga up," Ramses said to no one in particular. Ramses' right-hand man, Huck, stepped up. He was a throwback cat, with a salt-and-pepper tapered afro, and always wore suits. He had been Ramses' best friend and confidant for more years than almost anyone in the room had been alive. Huck slipped on a pair of gloves before grabbing the cattle prod from the edge of the pool table. Ever so gently, he touched the end of the prod to one of Rick's toes. "Motherfucker!" Rick awoke with a start. Reflexively, he tried to sit up, but found his wrists were tied down. With confused eyes, he looked around the room at the faces of the men looking back at him. The last thing Rick remembered was drinking with this chick he'd met uptown. At first he had no idea where he was or what he was doing there. But when his eyes landed on Ramses, everything became crystal clear. "Ramses," he began, but was cut off by Ramses. "Rick, if I were you, I'd think long and hard about my next words, because they could very well be my last," Ramses told him. "Ramses, I'm sorry." "That much I figured out long before you admitted to it. You're a sorry sack of shit, Rick. I just want to know, was it worth it? Was it worth biting the generous hand that's been feeding you since you touched your first dime bag?" Ramses asked. Rick's eyes watered. The weight of his deeds began to dig into his chest. "You don't understand, Ramses." Ramses walked over and looked Rick in the eyes. "Then help me to understand." "They had me by the balls, man," Rick began. "I got stopped with a kilo of pure white. I'm a two-time loser who's already on parole for drugs. They would have finished me if I took it to trial. What was I supposed to do?" "The same thing Deuce did when he got knocked." Ramses nodded toward a young brown-skinned man. "The same thing Bunchy did when she got knocked." He motioned toward the light-skinned girl with the big pink lips.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.